Makeup!
Don't shout at me.
Makeup! Dennis has got some work to do. No, come and you do it. Very good. We're rolling. Here we go. And you too. Okay, let's kick it off. We have the lovely opportunity to chat to dancer and choreographer Renan Martins. Did I say your name correctly?
Yeah,
Maybe it's better
good.
coming from you.
It was good.
Okay, is that how you would encapsulate your work as an artist, I guess?
I think so. For now, I think it branches to other roles, but I would start there. Yeah.
Okay. And how long have you been dancing and creating?
Well, I'm 34, so I think I've been dancing for 34 years. Professionally, well, I started really pursuing dance when I was 16. How long time ago that is? Not very good at math.
And where was that?
In Rio de Janeiro, in Brazil. I did a few schools, and I've been, let's say, earning money from it since 2009. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a while.
So maybe fill in the gaps and take me back through this journey from Rio. Is that where you're originally from? And then to now, I guess, Heidelberg. Is this where you're based? Or
Yeah.
is this a base?
Heidelberg.
Europe
Just
in
a
general?
base. I'm not there often, but it is an official base. I actually started my artistic life in theater at a very young age. I think my mom and both my grandfather, who also used to be a dancer, but a ballroom dancer and ballroom dance teacher, they would take me to a lot of theater plays for kids. So I fell in love with performing. And I did theater, and then I became a professional actor, already playing musicals and being on stage like 4 or 5 times a week for 4 months runs. And this I was already 8, 9. And then I kind of decided not to do that at some point because I guess I had to have a real job. That's how I reflect on it today. But then I found dance again, found dance at some point. Found performance again through dance. And I was like, oh, maybe I want to do that.
And did you always have an interest in choreographing or creating works yourself?
I did. It's funny. I think that was always the dream. I mean, I love dancing for other people. But already in as a kid, I would tell my cousins what to do and direct them in plays all the time. And I wanted to make this world all the time. Then I come from a very religious family, so I was in a Christian theater and dance group. I was in church every Sunday for 17 years.
Wow.
And I always took that role of like organizing stuff. So I think I always wanted to be a choreographer, director, facilitator.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it was almost a natural progression from your childhood.
Yeah. And I wanted to dance. I knew I wanted to dance or to be in the role of the dancer to learn how it is from the other side. So that when I choreographed, I could have this experience from both roles.
And how is it navigating this from both sides? So if I understand correctly, you have a new show coming up, which you're also choreographing and performing in. So what tools have you learnt when being on both sides simultaneously?
I think it's mostly in how to treat people. More than anything, I've had the privilege to work with great people that created a very healthy work environment, and I had also encountered problematic environments that I think have also taught me how to, I hope, in how to understand what a dancer needs. I'm not a huge fan of performing my work because I get too nervous.
Still?
I think it's very hard to kind of let go of, okay, so this is my choreographic work. Like I put that on the side and now I'm the dancer. Like I'm during the whole show I'm both.
You can't separate.
And I'm just like trying to, I'm spending 1 hour and a half just like cool down, Renan, cool down, cool down. Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun also to defend your own thing.
And how is it for you to create space for yourself and to make a little world of your own here in Germany now?
It's in progress. It's been so I spent many years in Brussels. After Salzburg, I moved to Brussels to study at Parts, and I lived in Brussels for almost 7 years. Then I've lived a bit in Prague, and I've lived in Porto for 3 years, and then I moved here. And it's been humbling to access a very different network that I was not in contact with. Like, I don't come from the Stadttheater world. I arrived here and I didn't know all of these names because my whole life has been more on the freelance, very Belgian, France kind of world, which is very different. So I think I'm still landing.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there should be more of a relationship between the freelance scene and...
Oh God, yeah. I think it's the way I see it is the idea of sharing resources. I feel like there's something interesting about these theaters that they are very local. Like, all these cities have a theater, and there's this like local logic. Like, you go and you watch something, you're like, you're not traveling, so in a way it's also sustainable. But I do find it that there is I'm not sure the word is laziness, but there is I feel like the programmation in Germany in these theaters is quite laid back, and there's not so much will to challenge the norm. So what happens is you have kind of the same people being programmed everywhere, or same companies doing the same repertories.
Yeah, it becomes quite homogenous and quite uniform.
And I'm always curious about that, because what happens is, so you have like a group of 10 choreographers who now have they're being commissioned everywhere, and they have their works being programmed everywhere, which I'm not so sure is also sustainable mentally for them. And then you have a bunch of great freelance choreographers who are struggling financially, but they don't manage to make into or to exercise their choreography. Because I think it's beautiful to have a commission, and to have the means to make like a scale of work that would be almost impossible as an independent.
As a freelancer, yeah, exactly.
Like, to have a group, to have costumes, to have set design, like, it's super cool. I just feel like those what's the word? Those possibilities, or those opportunities, could be shared.
Yeah. I do feel like we could broaden this network and increase the chances for other people as well.
It takes work that I wonder if people are willing to do the work. I think it's also like the work of educating your audience, or preparing them for different kinds of works, audience reach, diversifying the audience.
And as well, what about diversifying not just the work, but the content of the work and the bodies on stage? And do you also feel like this could be something that could be implemented more?
Oh, yes. Yes. I think the thing of... I'm always curious in most of the cities I go around in Germany, when I'm either performing or watching or teaching, that I actually do find Germany a very diverse country. And most of the big cities, the population is not of one kind of population. I do find immigration, or what I see in Germany, is a very diverse group of people. But then I enter the theater, and I'm always like, where are all these people that I have just seen on the way from the train station to the theater? Like, why aren't these people here? So I think, yes, representation would be amazing, but I think just the way theaters are trying to connect to an audience,
Yeah, I think they also have to have access to the theatres as well. I think, yeah, they should be more of an open space and maybe more welcoming in their approach as well, so people don't feel like it's this elitist structure that you can't actually step into.
Yeah. I mean, price.
Price is also a big factor, yeah.
If you think of families that have, I don't know, 3 kids, 4 kids, and they are working class family, I think a 38 euro ticket, like if you're not young and you don't have a discount, it's not. People have priorities, and I don't think they would prioritize a show.
Yeah.
Then of course, then the content of the show, because things are shifting, and I think the young audience has other interests. They have other interest in music, in content, in they relate to other things visually. And I think if we're still only making our pieces with and it's not a critique, but if we're just making our pieces with Vivaldi, just as an example, then like how does
How does it relate to today and the
to
people
today,
today?
to people, to their questions, to their thoughts, to their
Yeah. We have to also provide it for the new generation and bring them into the theatre world and show that this is also a live experience that's worth attending and worth watching, not just something that's on a screen. But yeah, we have to honor the past as well. But yeah, carve out some space for the newbies.
Yeah, I was so I work a lot in collaboration with Dance Theater Heidelberg. I've made a piece there 2 years ago, and I've been assisting Ivan in a few creations, and I teach them. So I am unofficial part of the of the company. The other day there was this amazing queer Arabic party in Heidelberg. And we're like, should we go? We were all very tired, but we decided to go. We were dancing our asses off. It was amazing. Okay. And we met a lot of great people. They were very excited about us because we were a bunch of people dancing a lot. So they were like, who are you guys? What do you do? And we ended up exchanging Instagram with everybody, inviting them to our shows. It's a very different group of people that we haven't really met in Heidelberg.
I guess there's not this chance to cross over.
I think if I think of collective, and all of us are in this together, and we're all kind of responsible for the machine to function and to change, then yeah, I think the theater and the institution, I mean, as an institution that gets funding and has tax money, they should do the work to diversify themselves. But I also think that we shouldn't wait. So I think for us, for example, we made all these great new friends that hopefully are coming to our shows. And I think that's also a way of bringing new people into the space.
Very good. Let's have more of that. Dennis, thank you. Can you just check everything's going okay? I've had the fortune to see a couple of your shows now, and yeah, it's amazing to see what you're doing, and I'm wondering what's next on the horizon for you. Is it performing, or you have some ideas for new works or anything else that's coming up?
I have many ideas for many pieces that I don't know if they will ever
see the light of day. Okay.
No, my mind actually works very fast. I'm every day like, I could make a piece about this, and this thing just happened. What if this was a performance? But what is happening now? I've been part of this project called DDE, which means Diversity in European Higher Dance Education.
Wow, okay.
It's a very, I would say, big project. It's an Erasmus Plus project, so it's a EU-funded project. And it's a collaboration between Parts, this dance school in Brussels, and Manufacture in Lausanne, and the Stockholm University of the Arts. We're a group of 12, I believe, artists and researchers, and we're doing this academic research in collaboration with the Amsterdam University, where we are gonna, for 2 years, where we've been talking and researching and reading and discussing on topics of decolonial practices in dance, and we're going to these different schools to give lectures and have conversation with the students, share movement practices that kind of support
Fantastic.
this logic.
Are the educators and teachers also involved, or can they access this as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
the whole school is being part of it. So what we are doing now is, in the first phase, we go to these schools and we kind of have conversations with them. And then the idea is that we write a report that later we share with these institutions, and we go back to them after a while to see how they have implemented it.
Wow, fantastic.
And also to develop a kind of, not a course, but like guidelines in
Mhm.
how to create a more inclusive environment. So this is what I'm doing now, and I'm going to be doing it for the next 2 years.
It's great. I think it's an amazing program. Sounds good.
It's been beautiful. It's been tough.
In what way?
Because there is a lot of storytelling, and we're listening to a lot of stories. For instance, I went to part, so I resonate with a lot of things that I hear. I'm very glad that the school is opening for that kind of change now. But yeah, I spent a week listening to people's stories. So a lot of things came up. But it's been beautiful to provide that kind of support.
And a space to share together.
Yeah, it's been very nice.
How did it help you reflect on your time there or your own journey?
That the world is tough. That there is a lot to do.
We have a beep button anyway.
There is a lot of work to do. There is a lot of willing to change. People are opening up. I think what I'm realizing is that we have been sustaining this system. It's just not working for anybody.
Yep.
It's not just... I think we have an idea that this system we are part of, this patriarchal system, is not working for minorities or global majorities. It's just not working for anybody. It's not working for white people. It's not working for cis heterosexual men. It's just not working. So I think finding ways to be together, to support each other, to think of practices and way of teaching and experiencing dance that isn't oppressing, but it kind of like brings the best out of us, I think is beneficial to everybody. And I think everybody's asking for it.
Speaking a bit along these lines, in terms of art and politics and their relationship together, and how is art's role in society sitting with you right now? Either in terms of what's happening right now in the world or in a more general sense? Something else.
I will respond that very personally, because I think that I have I have my own agenda with it, and because of my positionality and how I position myself in Europe and in Germany, like it for me has to be very personal. I think I want to offer a solutions, metaphorical solutions, but I mean, you've seen my work, and I think the theme of collectivity and coming together, and the feeling that the possibility for change only happens once I connect and we go through it together. That's kind of the solution I've been trying to bring.
Would these be your core elements, or the foundation of your piece, all of your work actually?
Questioning like who got to decide what contemporary dance is, and if there is even contemporary. I mean, I don't believe there is, but oops. I think it's an illusion definition of something that somebody has created, and I have been interested in also like bringing dances that don't necessarily belong to the spaces, and then inviting them in. So anything that brings some sort of nostalgia and that isn't necessarily the dance that, I think.
I see. Yeah. So trying to also play with the box or the labels and what fits in which institution or on the stage, for example.
I mean, I've been doing quite a few works for now, and I wonder when, like, I still haven't had the feeling that the dance that I'm creating has made it to the main stage. I don't know what that means. My work is often, even when it's commissioned for companies, it's often in the black box. I'm also like curious about this idea of the black box
Yeah.
or the other stage, the stage for 400 people and the stage
Yeah.
for
Yeah, I also always question this, like, why does one stage, oh, we can give the experimental, the edgy stuff here, and then we keep the larger stage for our subscribers and our our more worthy customers, if you will, which is no such thing.
and then what I experience is that these audiences, they also start to separate.
Yeah.
I don't know in your experience, but for instance in Heidelberg,
Yeah.
you can notice
Yeah.
the audience that goes to the black box and the audience that goes to the main.
And I think also then trying to create or curate works for these two spaces also helps this divide. So I think to put that a bit might be a way to challenge people's perceptions of, oh no, I don't see shows there because this has this kind of program.
And also I feel like there has been an interest, or there has been the first step of giving marginalized voices a space. But then I'm like, but then you still put the marginalized in the marginalized, like in the margins of the main house.
It's like not breadcrumbs, but just the smallest possible effort to try to appear as more inclusive, I guess. So you're making your work next year, are you? What's coming up next?
Yes, I'm making work.
Yes, to creation.
It's been a while. I start in February. I start a new work in collaboration with Unusual Symptoms, Theater Bremen.
Ooh, fantastic.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
Yeah, can you drop any other information about it?
So the work is called, for now, it's called Diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rihanna's song, Diamonds.
Appealing to the younger audience, it's good.
Yes. It's going to be my third collaboration with Zen Jefferson, who made in case anybody has seen No Tears Left to Cry, who's made the soundtrack for that piece. And Zen is a dear friend of mine, and I think his work is amazing. So it'd be very nice to work with him, but this time he's playing live.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
It is work. I want to work with duets a lot. And the work is very much inspired by the book All About Love by Bell Hooks. Connection, conflict, lots of intimacy, partnering. Let's see.
Okay, sounds like you already have a lot to start off with.
Most of it are questions and ideas.
Sounds like a great gig. And yeah, I guess these opportunities don't come along very often as a freelancer. Can you tell us a bit what it's like? Hustling and trying to get work off the ground, get ideas off the ground.
I mean, I think there is being a freelancer, and then there's being a freelancer in Germany, which is like a whole other level of.
You need a degree for that, I think.
Of stress. Yeah, I think I've been anxious for my whole life, like many of us, but I have discovered a whole other type of anxiety once I moved to this country.
Oh gosh.
So it's been challenging. I think more on the bureaucratical level. I don't speak German, but I hear even from my friends who speak German, it's not necessarily calmer.
Yeah.
I have never seen so many papers in my life as I see here.
They love their paper here.
They
That's
love
one
their
thing.
letters.
They love their
Yeah.
a whole bunch here as well. Getting a little bit of anxiety as well. It might be the coffee, but it might be talking about paperwork in Germany.
I think what is the hardest about being a freelancer in Germany with dance is that I really feel there is a hierarchy of which I don't feel so much in Belgium, for example. Even in Portugal, though it's a very precarious field, the worlds are very separate. Like established dance companies or state theater companies and the freelance. And then like the importance that it has in the field and how the audience perceives. Like that's the thing that I find here maybe the more challenging. Yeah. And it's been like quite interesting to deal with it, or how to deal with it. The conversation between dancers as well, like freelance dancers and dancers from companies, and how Like I do find these worlds very separate.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because you do seem to be sort of on the periphery of both, or you are deep in the independent scene, but also you are connected to some theatres and you have access by visiting them. So, yeah, it's interesting to hear your reflection on this.
It's challenging. I mean, I think some companies are starting to realize that these worlds need to dialogue more.
Mm-hmm.
So they're bringing more people in, like myself.
Yes.
So
Kick open those doors.
stretching and bringing more people in.
Yeah. I'm just wanting to know about the origin of your inspiration and where do your ideas come from? You said before they come from all over the place.
I was performing once a trio in Rio, and a friend of mine said, "Your work is very childish, but not in a bad way." Because I was really like, "What do you mean?"
How dare you?
It's very childish. It's very free, and it has humor, but it feels like there's a lot of emotions. Childish in the sense that, like a kid, playful.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a good question. So I think I'm very much inspired by music. I love music. I love the message that music does. I mean, my culture is very much connected to music and dance, so I think that stayed with me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you also make music yourself.
I DJ.
You DJ, okay.
I don't make music yet, but I host music.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice way. You're the vessel.
I host music. So I think that interest in rhythm and music and musicality is there. And then I think I just let myself speak about what is happening in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so the context will change a lot.
Okay.
Like when I moved to Portugal, suddenly my work had to be about Brazil and being Brazilian.
All right. You could reflect upon it.
Because it was the first time, Portugal has a colonial history with Brazil, and Brazilians, they have a very different reality when they live in Portugal. And I think that kind of, my positionality in Portugal was so specific, and I was being confronted, and I was being aware that I'm Brazilian all the time, like I had never been before. And so the work had to be about that. Like Viaduto, the piece that I'm still performing now, was made there, and it had this thing. And now in Germany, it's different. It's about other stuff.
Okay.
So yeah,
The Brazilian or identity is less present in your work.
it will always be there, but it shifts also because I think, for instance, with commission, I'm very interested in understanding what is it that can come from the group. I'm not necessarily like in a Brazilian environment or in a Latin American environment. So, yes, music, being together, collectivity, and what the group has to offer.
Do you ever suffer from creative block?
I suffer from thinking I'm not good enough,
Okay.
which isn't necessarily a creative block, but I think just insecurity.
Okay. How do you work through something like that? Because I think that's prevalent in our field, or as creators putting something out. But how do you personally deal with insecurities and fear of making a mistake or judgment?
I do it anyways.
Just do it.
I think I just do it. I mean, I think it helps a lot to talk with friends that are a bit more like me, like they're immigrants or they're people of color, they're queer, like whatever sameness that I have with some friends, that I can call them and feel like, oh, I feel the sabotage, like I feel and then we can talk about that. I think just sharing stories and also understanding that I have kind of been programmed to feel like this, and I have been programmed to be this the moment I arrived in this continent, and I'm being put there again and again. So it's like, how much of it is just me being programmed by outside forces, but then just accepting that I have space, like many people have space, so there might be also space for me, so I can just do it. But I think it's more that than creative block.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice. Renan, what's your happy place? Do you have one?
I think as a good Sagittarius, my happy place is with friends,
Mm-hmm.
laughing a lot for no reason. My happy place is also a dance studio. Not gonna lie, I love it. I love dancing. Anywhere, anywhere with the sea and delicious food,
Oh, that's nice. Sounds like you've got a few happy
some
places.
alcohol.
And all of these things together, perfect
Yes,
combination.
like a dance studio right in front of a beach
With
with all my
alcohol.
friends, alcohol and having
And
fun.
laughter. Very good. So, what are you inspired by right now?
I think the research I'm doing now with these institutions, I think listening to most of the students that we have talked to so far who are like between 19 and 23, 24, listening to these young voices who already have a very different take on coming together that I had now that I'm 34. Like I feel a lot of love and the idea of being together and the desire for change, but not through separation, but through coming together. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I think I feel very inspired by that. I really wanted to be inspired by Bad Bunny's new album, but I got more inspired by the last one. So
okay, yeah, what's my next question? What are you listening to right now? But not Bad Bunny, I guess.
No, I listened to it once and I was like, what? I am starting a journey in discovering the work of Julius Eastman, who I guess many people don't know, but he was considered, or he's still considered, the daddy of minimalist music.
Okay.
And Julius was a queer black composer, but also a dancer and choreographer who actually has a lot of influence in the works of Steve Reich and Philip Glass. And so there's a lot of it that you listen to that you're like, oh, amazing, that's Steve Reich. And then as often, some black person did that before.
Okay, okay.
And I'm kind of interested I think that's what I'm listening to
Very
now
nice.
on repeat.
Okay.
And it's
on the
beautiful. And I want to make something with it at some point.
Very nice. Okay. And what are you watching?
Oh, that's very embarrassing.
After this beautiful intellectual response to the.
Oh God, I
to be honest,
I just finished Drag Race Brazil, which was amazing.
There we go. It's a connection to home. Very good. And are you reading something right now?
I started. Wait, cut. I want to say the right.
It's a music interlude.
Ajinata. Yes. Wait. No.
Wait. Second music interlude.
Holding Space by Aminata Cairo.
Oh wow!
I haven't started, but I started a podcast series because that's the one of the book that came up in our research, and I am. She's also one of our mentors in the process, and the podcast series is amazing, and it's about holding space. She talks about diversity as well, and I just ordered the book, so that's the next thing I'm gonna read.
Okay.
Right now, I am. Like right now, I'm not reading a book because I'm reading applications.
Paperwork.
And a lot of transcribing all these interviews from the research and listening and reading all kinds of different articles. So, yeah.
Beautiful. If you could nominate someone to sit in your chair and come and join us, who would it be? I mean, we could sit here and talk with you all day, unfortunately. We have to wrap it up at some point.
The nomination you can do there.
The nomination is there.
Yes.
Who should we have a chat to?
I think I don't have a name, but I would be curious if you had a conversation with a programmer or any person that has that power of decision making.
Very good.
Also to like because we're listening from artists so much, and maybe it would be nice to also bring that person into this realm of
Absolutely.
questioning and thinking, also to understand from their perspective. Yeah, I would be curious to actually listen to a podcast where a programmer
All right.
kind of shares their strategy.
Are you a programmer? Join us. All right, fantastic. And do you have any questions for us?
I don't know if it is a question, and I'm not sure it's relevant, but I know I've been following you now for a while, and I'm always like how it's kind of beautiful that you are filming so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find, like, what strategies do you both have to support everything that you're filming, and how do you take that space? Because I'm not sure you will personally connect to everything you're filming, yet that work represents your, like, how do you do with it?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Separation, that's something that's difficult, and boundaries and scheduling, it's hard. But sometimes the taste doesn't come into it, or our personal opinions. We're so focused on the technical aspect. We always have an eye on each other. Sometimes people say, how was the show? And I honestly, it's hard because I'm sometimes either looking through a viewfinder or a small screen, and I'm trying to read where the dancers are moving in the space so I can keep the whole body in frame, or if I'm on the close-up, the light's going to change soon, so there's a certain removal from the actual, just letting it wash over you and being present in the space. So, and yeah, it doesn't matter. You're working for someone who has spent so long on this work, and you're wanting to do as good a job as possible. So yeah, the taste doesn't come into it. It's only if it becomes a very, very long opera, it can maybe get a bit static, a little bit boring. But there's some techniques you can also do to try to stay awake. A colleague in the industry taught me one of his, also if you're standing for a long time in the dark and the body starts to shut down after a long day, and one of his techniques was to hold your breath, and I found that really interesting. So it's like you just literally suffocate yourself, and it will kick the body into staying awake. It's a little pro tip from someone, but yeah, you can't knock the camera. Otherwise you do like I did, and you'll end up breaking an expensive piece of equipment.
Oh, I saw that. That was really...
Yeah, ouch.
That was fun.
Yeah, ouch. I was like, okay, let's also show the reality of what it's like, and it's not always...
I'm happy you bring this up. Because also your question about creative block. I think social media for us today is also a way to get work.
Yeah.
So we're promoting a version of our professional life that isn't necessarily true. Just like last week, I got an application for something that I got a no from something that I wanted, and I've been trying for like 5 years to get it, and every year I get a no. And a friend of mine was like, "But you're doing so well," and I'm like, like our perception of how it's going.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have this kind of conversation, because we're all tired or frustrated, or we're also grateful and excited.
Absolutely.
But we're also many other things.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, we did a little interview yesterday, and Dennis and I finished, and the first thing we did was we opened bills, and we're like overwhelmed by this almost this pressure to try to make things work. And yeah, so social media is something you try to adopt and sort of play the part in. Of course, you're proud of your work. You want to show and create more networks and connections. But yeah, that's why I made this little video of myself breaking the camera. Or we did. Yeah, it's also part of it. It's some expensive. Well.
Maybe I'm gonna make a video reading rejection emails.
No.
All emails that start with "unfortunately."
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I mean, it's also good to be proud of your work and to put up all the good stuff. But in any case, whether it's your personal holiday snaps, it's always the best version, and the things you want to have remembered of you. You don't put up being stuck in an airport queue, or you put up the beautiful location where you end up. Yeah, so wish you a beautiful creative journey ahead, and thank you for stopping by and sharing some of it with us.
Thank you for having me.
With pleasure. That's it. Give it up. Oh, wrong one. That's the clap. Thank you so much.